Hello everyone, Iggy here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is the time to talk about the construction of a guitar solo. And I wanted to make this video because most of the rock guitar players especially have the tendency to play for licks. Means that you learn licks and phrases by heart and you tend to reproduce them while you try to improvise and construct your solos. This leads to a problem, that is constructing your solo mechanically. You have to understand exactly how to make a solo that makes actually sense, that is various, and that has a development and has some breadth. So today I would like to explain you exactly what to do, and I will explain all of the path in 10 different steps. Also guys, before starting this lesson, please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, you can find all the tabs, the transcriptions, the diagrams of the lesson, and the backing tracks on my Patreon page. And by subscribing, you can have access to more material that I don't publish here on my YouTube channel. So guys, the progression that we will play on will be formed by the chord A minor, C major, G major, and E minor. Okay, we have the same for the next 3 bars. We have the same chord, so A minor, C major, and G major, and then we go to D suspended ninth. Okay, so we basically are in C major key. First thing we have to do whenever we play over something, over some music, over a backing track, over a song, we have to analyze exactly which is the harmonic progression. Okay, we have to understand which is the relation between the scale and the chords. Okay, so we are basically in C major because all the chords that I play right now are belonging to the C major scale. So what we are playing now are the 60th degree, okay, A minor, and the 1st degree, C major, the 5th degree, the 3rd degree, okay, E minor 7, and then we go to the 2nd degree when at the 2nd circle, okay. So when we play over this harmonic progression, of course, if we are building basically a song chord over a scale, we can play that scale over the chord. So if we play the C major scale, okay, this is gonna fit, and automatically we can play this scale along all the entire neck. It's gonna fit all the time because we are playing over the chords of the scale itself. Okay, so this is a rule of thumb. Whenever we have the chords that are diatonic over the key, we can play, of course, all that scale, and every note is going to fit perfectly. Okay, and that's our base. We also can simplify, and we can basically use all the arpeggios of each chord, because whenever we harmonize the scale, we are going to have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. Okay, so this means that over this chord progression, we can also mix the chords and the arpeggios. So we can play each arpeggio over its chord or over its related chord, and this creates an harmonization, let's say, effect. So we can play all the time the C major arpeggio, C major or C major 7, D minor arpeggio, E minor arpeggio, F major arpeggio, and G major arpeggio, A minor arpeggio, and B diminished arpeggio. Okay, so when we play all these arpeggios, we can play them over the chords. So in this case, we are going to play A minor, and C major, and then G major, and D minor, or E minor in this case, when we play the first time. So it really depends, but the first point is understanding which is the chord progression, understanding which is the scale that we can play, and understanding also the arpeggios and the triads that we can play over the backing track. Let's see an example. Okay, the second step is trying to understand which are the chord tones and the guide tones. So when I have, for example, a chord, let's assume that I have C major, okay? I have all the time the notes C, E, and G, which are the notes of the triad, and then I can extend to the seventh, which is B. Okay, so I'm going to call the first note the root, and then I have the major third, that is the modal, let's say, because it defines the modes. And the third is going to be also the guide tone. Okay, the guide tone is the let's say the third of each chord, compare the third and the seventh also. And these two notes, in this case we have E and natural B, are going to lead the melody. Okay, so if you use these two notes over the chord progression and you try to land, every time the chord changes, you try to land exactly on the third of each chord or on the seventh of each chord, you are going to start to give some more melodic sense. Of course, you can use also the fifth, which is the natural G. But I totally advise you to start with the third and then extend with the seventh. So the point of this exercise will be play your phrase, and when the chord changes, you land on the next third of the next chord, then you continue the phrase, and then you land on the other third, etc., etc. And then you do the same with the seventh. And I advise you to do that on each single string. So in the example that I'm going to play right now, I will do it only on the B string. Okay, so of course, feel free to extend the example on the other strings. I advise you to do that on single strings and on couple of strings. Okay, now we go to the third step. The third step is related to the solo dynamics. This means that when we develop a solo, we don't want to create something that is completely flat dynamically. You start the same, you finish the same, you don't create any expectation, you don't create any breath. So you have to actually to boot the solo. Of course, you can boot the solo in many different ways. You can do it, for example, if you have a very fast tempo, you tend to play the solo, you know, all the same on a flat line. But of course, if you want to play a solo that has some breath, I advise you to start the solo a bit slowly, giving some more breath at the very beginning, and then literally increase the dynamic of the solo until you reach a peak point. So whenever you are here at the peak point, you are trying to create more density in terms of notes. So what I will be doing in the exercise is repeating more a pattern, or repeating a lick, very repetitive, but it has to be very dense of notes. And then you can at the point you can cut the solo abruptly, just about your choice, or you can descend with the dynamic. So you just create something that that da 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 goes up, reaches the peak point, and then goes down little by little, like I will be doing in the exercise in the example that I will be playing. Or you can cut it down abruptly. It really depends on your music taste. But what I advise you to do is just to create expectation and increase the density of the notes little by little until you reach the maximum density on the peak point. Let's see what to do. Okay, and we are at the step number 4. Step number 4 is about using the blue notes. Of course, using the blue notes is, can be always very cool, because they can be good old blue notes, let's say, but the bluesy feeling always works well in music. So what we want to do is try to take our, for example, C major scale as we did before, and from there, take the blues scale. Okay, we can have it on the major version like we did right now, or the minor version. And we can have it on different points of the neck. Okay, so if you start to use the blue notes, you can add more flavor to your solo. Okay, your solo is gonna sound way more, let's say, instinctive and wild at the same time. I really like to use the blues sound in general, because it gives that old school flavor, but that is always fresh, let's say. So the step number 5 is using the bending. Recently we have been the boomer band discussion, but I think that using bending is always very cool. And most parts of guitar players, we tend to use bendings only one tone. Okay, but we ignore that we can use bendings that have different qualities. First of all, we are not we don't have to use only one tone bending, but we can use also 1/2 step bending, like, and we can also bend towards the blue notes. And we can also use one tone and a half type of bendings. Okay, those one tone and a half bendings also help. So what I advise you to do is start always on one single string and try to reach the next note of the scale, okay? Okay, so then when you bend over the major scale, you always have one tone and one half tone. But at some point, start to use also the pentatonics and to bend one tone and a half, for example. Okay, so and try to play one half step bendings combined with one tone and a half bendings, okay, and combine everything with the blue notes as well. Let's go to the step number 6. We talked about the motive development of the phrase. So we don't only want to play with scales, right? We also, or scales or arpeggios, we also want to create some melodic development. So creating a melodic development is that you have to start to find what works for you. And you have to try to find maybe a phrase that is composed by 3 or 4 notes max, okay? Something like this, or something that works for you. And when you talk about melodic development, you have to try to imagine the same notes that you can sing, okay? So let's say that your ultimate goal should be to be able to sing every note that you are going to play, okay? So this is an exercise that I do very often, being a singer, but you don't have to be a singer. You don't have to be perfectly in pitch. What is the point is that you have to be able to okay, trying to let's say keep the pitch with your voice of each note that you play. So this actually interrupts the problem that most of guitar players we have. So our hands goes very fast by itself and we don't control it. So we want to control melodically what we do, and we have to try to sing each note that we play. Okay, so this is a general rule and a general exercise that I advise you to do as much as possible. Sing every note that you play. But in this specific case, what you can do is take just a little melodic phrase and bring it around in the neck. Okay, so we're going to okay, you bring it around along the neck, etc., etc. You can repeat it on different octaves, okay? Okay, and you on the low octave and on the high octave. So you try to vary the octave and you try to vary the dynamics, okay? So it's all about creating the little phrase that works for you and then you can repeat and develop along your solo little by little. The next step is using rhythms and using rhythm figures. So, of course, the solo is not only composed about melody and what you can play on the harmony. The rhythm element is definitely the most important, because if you don't play not only tight rhythmically but also interesting rhythmically, it's gonna sound kind of boring, right? So what we want to do is using the same strategy that we used for the melodic development, by doing the same with also with a written figure. Okay, when we have a written figure, we can think in terms of da 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 do do da da. For example, da 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 do do da da. Okay, we repeat the same phrase over one single note. Da 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 da. We can also insert the ghost notes. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay, these ghost notes help you to get along with the rhythm. Da, 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 da. Okay, so if you try to insert some ghost notes on it, it will definitely sound better. It will help you to stay more in the pocket. Okay, and you can use the same melodic and let's say more rhythmical phrase here, and you can develop it along the neck, how exactly how we did it with the melodic phrase. Okay, da 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 da. Okay, I'm just inventing something. Of course, feel free to use your melodic phrase and your rhythmic phrase in this case. But it's all about, the idea, and try to use some written element in your solo. Also adding some ghost notes from time to time. So this helps you to keep the groove on and keep it interesting. Okay, the next step is the anti-shred par excellence. Okay, we are talking about poses. Okay, I know I'm touching on it right now because me as first, most parts of rock and metal, especially guitar players, but not only, we tend to overplay. Okay, we tend to play like a lot of notes. We like the speed, especially since we have social media, we need to create the wow effect. So the more technique you play, the more notes you play, the more fast you play, the more you're considered as cool, right? But okay, yes, but no, in the sense that you also have to create some certain breath in your solos. And it's important also to respect the poses and to respect the natural breath of music. So trying to use poses doesn't only mean that you have to be able to, keep a pose from time to time, but it's about being able to control the poses. So the exercise that I advise you to do is to, whenever you have, for example, 4-bar type of chord progression, okay, you play 2 bars in which, for example, you play whatever you want, and then you force yourself to play silence 1 bar, and then you go forward and you play again, and then 1 bar you play silence, okay, or 2 bars you play silence. What's important for me is that it's not about the number of bars that you decide to keep as silent, but it's about your ability to control actually the pose. So if you control the pose, you control your breath and the music breath. So whenever you are in pose, whenever you detach actually the fingers from the fretboard, you're not only playing a pose, you are actually thinking about what is going on after. Okay, you are recalibrating, let's say, your brain in the moment. Okay, and that's the point, because then your next phrase is going to sound more in the moment, more thoughtful, and definitely more in line with the music breath. Okay, so what I advise you to do is playing an exercise with two bars you play, 2 bars you don't play, or 2 bars you play, 1 bar you don't play, and vice versa. You can combine everything as long as you try to control the pause element. The next step is the melodic range. Okay, melodic range means that we have an instrument, the guitar, that is so various and that has the basses and it has the high sound. Okay, so we don't have to play all the time in the same octave. We don't have to play all the time on the basses. We have to try to vary the the range of the instrument. So this means that you, for example, can start a solo in the low range. This is normally what I do, trying to play a solo in the low range, and then when I reach the peak point, I was talking before, I tend more to play in the higher range. But generally speaking, you want to vary that. You want to vary your melodic elements with phrases that are more in the high range and phrases that are in the low range. How to do that? Well, it all depends on your music taste, of course. But generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, you should be able to maybe start on the low range and then increase on the high range little by little. But then it really depends. What's important is that it's not the choice for itself, as I said, for the poses, but it's important that you control this element. So you actively know, okay, now I'm playing there because there is a reason, okay? There is a solo construction reason. So everything is about telling a story. It's not all about playing a solo. A solo should be like part of the narrative, should be part of the song, should be according to the song. So if you build your solo also in this direction, of course, everything is going to be the more and more coherent with the music itself. So try to control also this element, playing the range, playing in different parts of your guitar. Try to vary the range of your solos. And guys, the last step is something that is more related to rhythm, and it's something also very cool because it's all about playing half time, double time. So what I mean about that, let's assume that we have a backing track or some music, okay, like the backing track that I was playing before, and we have the click 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I play 1, 2, 3, 4, I can play all the quarts. 1, 2, 3, 4. The eighth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 16th. Okay, so the point is that I can play a phrase in da 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 2, 3, 4. I can da 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 da. Okay, I can play the phrase on 1/2, or I can play the phrase doubled. Okay, so the point is that we can start slowly with less rhythm density, and then at some point we can double the let's say the rhythm of the phrase, and we can create, in this case, more density. Okay, ta 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 ta. Okay, and this, we can repeat this over any kind of phrase, really. Okay, so it's all about being able to, keep a phrase along a certain tempo, and then being able to double the phrase. Also, I advise you to do that with different techniques, of course, because when we play modern guitar, we not only have the alternate picking. You can do the same also with legato. Okay, and then we can also double the phrases with legato on other techniques. So try to vary the recipe, let's say, as much as possible, because the goal there is create variation. So guys, I hope you like this lesson. If this was useful for you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave me a big thumb up. Also guys, don't forget to subscribe to my Patreon page. You can find there more courses, the backing tracks of each lesson, my original music, and more and more. So subscribe to my community to have more value for you. So you can also add me on Instagram and on TikTok. I like to connect with you guys also on these platforms. And I will see you all next time for another lesson.